Hello, hello. Welcome to another live stream. I am here pretty late on a Sunday. It feels late actually, but it's not that late. It's just really dark, really early still. But I wanted to pop in here because Spirit has a message loud and clear coming through that I wanted to share. And of course, I've been called to share through story lately, so I'm sure that's going to come up. But I'm literally just pulling up some of the syncs that were hitting me, like blasting me on the way home, which I knew was divine timing for this message that wanted to come through. So I also dropped a message earlier today on the Divine Feminine Collective playlist, and this is going to tie into that. It's so interesting. It's on that playlist. I wanted to say one of the animal totems that was coming up that was symbolic was an eagle, because I was talking about true spiritual vision and being able to see through the eyes of source and see through the eyes of your soul. But I didn't mention eagle on that transmission earlier today. But when I was in prayer asking for guidance on the message that wants to come through today and allowing myself to be a clear channel and a clear vessel, this is what unfolded right after that. I was getting in my car, going to Trader Joe's to buy myself my flowers and everything that I like to do every single week. And immediately, well, of course, after seeing 1111 and New Beginnings, immediately I saw eagle eyes on the plate in front of me. And then right after that, 7007, and then blasted with sevens for the few miles that I had to go in order to get to the grocery store. In addition to a couple more syncs that I'm going to share here in a minute. But immediately, it was literally like as I was praying for the guidance to come through of what was the message that wanted to be shared today. And it's directly piggybacking off of this other message that came through today. So that doesn't surprise me. But, sevens and eagle eyes, eagles have expert vision, right? Like they have better vision than humans. They're able to see. So obviously spiritual vision with the sevens and the eagle eyes. I knew that that's the message I wanted to come through. And this is part of what's being asked of us as we move in to this new paradigm, new earth, is to be able to see truly with true spiritual vision through the eyes of our heart, through the eyes of our soul, through the eyes of source, not only for ourselves, but how we view others. And it starts it starts with how we see ourselves, which I've touched on in other episodes here as well. And pretty much everything that I share is all about being able to come home to yourself and the divinity within yourself, and to be able to see, know, and really know on a heart level that you are a child of God and that you are a divine expression. You are divinity in human form, and to be able to treat yourself that way with reverence and respect and love, because to dishonor or disrespect your own self would be to disrespect God, because you are one with God. You are divine. You are divinely human. Your humanity is celebrated on this divine feminine journey. This is about truly embodying and actualizing your divinity in this lifetime as the unique individual expression that you are, which sounds very paradoxical. And if you're on this journey, then paradox is just the name of the game, because not only because you are one on this journey, you are one with all, you are one with God, you are one with the divine. It is beating your heart, looking through your eyes right now, and simultaneously you have a unique divine expression. And so does everyone else. Before I get off on a tangent, or a rant, I like to call them, or a rampage, whatever you want to call it, true spiritual vision, I want to circle back to this, because this is truly being able to see the divinity in yourself and the divinity in others. And for many divine feminines, you are at this stage right now where you are walking through life as your higher self, and you are seeing above. Eagle eyes, eagles fly very, very high, right? So this is all a metaphor and symbolism, because that's how spirit communicates. And always, like it's so fun to see how spirit communicates. I mean, sometimes I'm just like singing a song that I don't even know, like from the 60s or something like that. So a random song pops into my head that you would never think to be thinking about, and it's the perfect lyrics. So anyways, long story short, symbolism is how my life is a walking, talking mystery and magical sea of symbolism. And I always say that synchronicity is the language of oneness. We are connected to all that is. And so, of course, as you move into being in alignment with who you truly are, you're going to see symbols and synchronicities everywhere. And you're going to know without a shadow of a doubt that you're divinely guided, and that everything is always working out for you, even when it feels like it's not. Because you're able to see more and more with true spiritual vision. So I wanted to speak to this a little bit more. What's coming through is really truly being able to see the divinity in yourself and the divinity in others. And this often takes a very uncomfortable form for the egoic mind, not for the heart, not for who you truly are, because who you truly are is unconditional love, which does not judge. It's the opposite of judgment. The language of the egoic mind is judgment, but seeing true divinity in everyone, including your trespassers and the ones in your life that have played roles for you that have been catalysts, and they may not even be pleasant roles, right? Like we have catalysts of all different shapes and sizes in our life in all different forms. And some we would prefer on a human level and some we would not, yet they all played a very specific role. True spiritual vision, back to the eagle eyes. Eagles fly very, very high, higher vision, higher expert vision. Eagles see like 9 times stronger. I had to Google it, like 9 times stronger than a human, right? So they have expert vision and they fly very high. So this is high vision mixed with all the sevens, of course, like obviously high vision is spiritual vision, like true spiritual vision. And this is not something ego embraces, because it means you have to be unconditionally accepting, and not in the way where you are condoning bad behavior or anything, but unconditionally accepting of your journey and being able and willing to see beyond the illusion, beyond the falsehood, beyond the 3D behaviors of others when they're acting from lack of love, when they are acting from their own fear, when they are acting from a wounded place, when they are acting from not knowing who they truly are. And this is the same for ourselves, like being able to see ourselves beyond the illusion and being able to come home to ourselves with a sense of unconditional acceptance of self. This is a huge piece of being able to walk embodied in your divinity. This is what I refer to as also eventually morphs into divine confidence. There's an unconditional acceptance of self and your shadow and the things that you carry shame for, or the things that you have been blamed for, the things that you have done wrong to others, right? This is a true radical forgiveness for self and radical forgiveness for others, recognizing and seeing the divinity in all. This is true spiritual vision. And I remember when I used to share a story, I remember praying for true spiritual vision. And I went to bed that night praying for true spiritual vision, and I woke up the next day with my eyes covered in an infection. I had like I've like styes, like where they were really really painful, and it was on both eyes. I couldn't see properly and it hurt, and my eyes were really painful. I woke up like that after praying for true spiritual vision, and everything in my life is a symbol and a metaphor. So this was not an accident. This is not the first time that this has happened when I have made very profound, deep spiritual requests to come into alignment with the truth of who I am. And I do it unwaveringly and fearlessly. I remember going to lunch one time with a girlfriend, and I would always tell the universe, okay, if this is in my way or if that's happening or whatever, like show me what I need to see differently. Let's bring it on. And I would tell the universe to bring it on. And then tower moments would happen. And this went on for years as I, ascended. And she would look at me like, why do you keep asking that? But I know I'm sharing this for a minute for someone because the person that I'm speaking to right now has a deep spiritual devotion to go all in on your ascension, to be fully self-realized and actualized and embodied in your divinity, to be the walking Christ in this new paradigm. Christ consciousness lives within you. And in order to fully embody this, you will awaken to true spiritual vision. And there is a devotion within you to, no matter what, this devotion, I would almost say, is a requirement, because you have to almost be crazy to continue to, test the universe like this and ask for more. But this devotion is required, in a sense, in order to fully continue on this path and move into true spiritual vision. So back to the story. I wish I had my water here. I don't know where it is. I'm thirsty. So back to the story. I woke up, my eyes were toast. I couldn't see, super painful. It did not fall, it was not unknown to me that this was not an accident. This is not the first time something like this has happened. And then the lessons would unfold from there, deep spiritual lessons that humbled me and sometimes brought me to my knees and sometimes brought me to see things that were different than what I had viewed before. I was slowly peeling away the veil that I was seeing. So true spiritual vision is the veil, the falsehood, the untruths of our true identity falls away. But it's kind of like at first when we are coming home to ourselves, and this, I'm just sharing my own experience, so take it as it resonates. I'm not saying that everybody's experience unfolds like this, and I'm not saying everyone has the same exact mission as I do on here, as I resonate with, but I trust and know that if you've landed here, that it's not an accident. So take whatever, how it resonates. But it's kind of like there's a cloudy, it's like we're viewing reality through dirty lens. So it's like wearing a dirty pair of glasses where everything is distorted, where we're not seeing the truth. We're not seeing the divinity in others. We're not seeing the divinity in ourselves. We go through life for years, decades, or lifetimes where we don't see our own divinity, and that we spend a whole lifetime trying to compromise or sacrifice or reach externally outside of ourselves in order to prove that we're good enough and lovable and whole and complete. Or we reach for a relationship to solve our problem, or we reach for food to ease our pain, or we reach for drugs, or we reach for alcohol, or we reach for more money or more success or whatever. We reach externally until at a certain point our soul is ready to awaken, and we've gone through the motions long enough in the 3D reality to see that it's not bringing us the level of the level of, I don't know what I'm saying, the level of contentment that we know is possible for ourselves, because everything that we've been reaching for our whole life has been so fleeting and only temporary. And there's a yearning within ourselves that wakes up to the fact that there is something beyond the physical, and that is the very onset of a soul starting to awaken to its own divinity. Rather, even if I could rephrase that, divinity waking up to itself, because divinity is never asleep and divinity is already your true nature. So it's not even like you are waking up to your divinity, it's that divinity is waking up to itself through you, and you become then a high frequency vessel for the divine to flow through you. So anyways, I want to get back to the story, I think. So so the lessons would unfold, and there's a heightened level of devotion and awareness to move through these lessons, and they were sometimes painful to see, sometimes my sometimes there was spiritual bypassing of them, sometimes they were, if you are a devotee to this, then you will know, and you will see, and you will be able to alchemize the dirty lens, so to speak. That's where I was. So dirty lenses, it's like we're looking through this dirty lens and we're seeing everything distorted because we're not able to see our true self, or we're not able to see the true nature in others. And so bit by bit, spirit starts to shine the glasses and clean the glasses with your true devotion and intention. This is not, like, I think that there's a quote that's coming up, and I know I'm going to butcher it, but it says something along the lines of, for spiritual enlightenment, you seek it as if, with the intent, as if, your hair was on fire and you're seeking water. You know what I mean? Like, there's a devotion, like there's a there's a there's a devotion to this. There's a commitment, right? It's not something that is just taken lightly. And this doesn't mean that people can't have spontaneous awakenings. People do, but then there's always a level of purification and embodiment afterwards, where it deepens and you move into fully embodying and actualizing your realization. Um, so so spirit then begins, the divine life, the true you, begins to clear, shine the lenses so you can begin to see more clearly. And this is when you will have like themes and stuff cycle back, where you can now address something from a higher perspective, with a higher vision than what you did before. And this will alchemize that karmic cycle, so to speak, that thing that keeps circling back in your life, when you're able to release it with love and compassion and unconditional acceptance, and see the love in yourself and the other person. And this is true spiritual vision, being able to release all resentment and anger, and be able to release other people, and know that there is divinity in their heart, and that God in its own time will resurrect that person as well. Everybody has their own time to be able to move through the darkness and see their own light. And that's part of it. And so I remember going through this. A year would go by and I would pray for true spiritual vision again. And this time, instead of like both eyes being covered and completely in pain, and like literally waking up with like so many different eye styes that I was like, I was just miserable the first time. The second time, it was like half as bad. Literally the next day, I would pray for true spiritual vision like a year later. And the next day I would wake up with a severe eye infection again, but it was like half as bad. I was like, okay, all right, spirit, like show me where I'm not. Show me where I'm not seeing clearly. Show me where I am still lost in the illusion, where I'm operating from a false truth, where I am not truly seeing what you want me to see, as you know what I mean? Like, this is truly surrendering my vessel as a channel for the divine to work through me and clear my vision, so that I can be the clearest channel that I can possibly be in this lifetime, which is part of my mission and part of my devotion. And so I literally did this like 3 times. I do everything. It's 3 times seems to be the number as well. Like, a lot of the synchronicities for me always come in 3s as well. And that's not an accident. When I opened to channeling, I can only say the Holy Spirit visited me 3 times. That's what I knew it was. And I shared that story, I think, on a previous episode. I won't go into that now. But obviously 3s has very high significance. And so I prayed a 3rd time, and there was another gap. There was a level of integration. There was a level of a period of life reflecting back to me what I needed to see, what I needed to integrate, where I needed to let go, where I needed to see differently, where I needed to shift my perception, where I needed to come from more love or compassion, or where I was holding on to resentment or anger and things like that. And it's not like this is just easily just shown to you when you have this level of commitment and devotion. You don't have to go seeking for any of this, but you do have to be ready for it when you ask for it, when you are serious about coming into alignment with the truth of who you are and being able to see the truth in everyone else in order to live, walk, and talk your divine essence and presence and live from your embodied divinity. That's essentially what we're saying here. That's essentially what's happening. There is a cleaning of all the lenses that you're looking through. There's a cleaning of it, as just a metaphor that I'm sharing now. So the third time I prayed for true spiritual vision, I was full, I'm in it, I'm in it. Like, there's no, like, what, this is my journey and I'm fully available for it. This was my commitment back in 2013, 14, when I opened up to channeling. And I started to receive a lot of messages from a lot of different astral beings and things like that. And I was like, nope, this is not my journey. I'm here to channel the highest and the most pure. And really started to protect my energy, and I've only been channeling through really pure, like, source, high infinite intelligence since then, not messing around with anything that was going to deter me from being the purest channel. So I've been serious about this for many, many, many years. And so when I prayed for it the third time, I didn't have any I didn't have any reaction when I woke up the next day. And that's not to say that the veil was completely clear, but that was a message. And there were several synchronicities that came with that. That there was, and the reason I'm sharing this isn't because I'm on a pedestal, because I've been going through this process. We're all going through this process. We're just going through this process at different speeds and different experiences. And the reason I'm sharing this is because if you're resonating with this channel and you're resonating with this playlist and you've been following me for any length of time, you are anchoring in Christ consciousness in new earth. This is the divine feminine journey. The divine feminine journey is to anchor in divine love and unity consciousness as we ascend on a mass level into higher consciousness. You're here to hold the frequency of unconditional love, divine love, coming into full union. And union, union with yourself as human and divine simultaneously, union within your feminine and masculine energy, you coming into union with your light and dark and alchemizing your shadow, like full union and anchoring in divine love. Like, that's the journey. And so the reason I'm sharing this is because we're all on this journey. If you're resonating with this is what we agreed to on a soul level before we incarnated here during this time of mass awakening. And to the degree that you accept it, to the degree that you commit to it, to the degree that you become devoted to your mission or your purpose for incarnating here in this lifetime, will be that spirit will meet you wherever you're at, and will reflect back to you everything that you need to know in order to ascend on your journey. And so, last couple things I wanted to share that came through. I had to make little notes on my notepad because I didn't want to forget, because sometimes when things are coming through, like, it totally bypasses my logical mind and then I can't remember it, even if it was like, that happens when I'm channeling a lot too. Anyway, the other thing that was coming through is immediately after that, I saw law of LOA on a license plate, and then full RIP, full rest in peace. Boom, boom, right after another. And this was very much associated with the transmission that came in earlier today, which is all about, like, the old self dying away. Like, if you're resonating with this, just, you can go listen to that other video or transmission that I dropped earlier today and on the other playlist, the Divine Feminine Collective Message playlist. It may resonate with you. That was all about the new prosperous era that you're stepping into, that literally, it's a whole, it's not even a cycle that's ending anymore, because a cycle repeats. Like, you're stepping into a whole new life, like a whole, like, it's not a cycle, it's a theme. It's like a life theme. It's like you're coming into a season where it's like there's going to be life before and then life after, and they're not going to look anything like. It's like night and day. It's like a full rest in peace. And to me, this represents because I've also getting blasted with 919 and things like that, which is obviously death, rebirth, and new beginning, and the 1111, of course, and all of that. But the full rest in peace, for who's listening to this, is a full rebirth, a full death of the old self, and a rebirth into the into you living as your higher self in this lifetime, like you being able to be in the world but not of it, walking through life with true spiritual vision, right? All of this is being tied together, right? Like, spirit just gives me these messages that come together like a perfect little message through all of these little syncs. But this is what's happening, a full rebirth. And in order for a rebirth to happen, there has to be a letting go of the old, a death of the old self. And that's what's happening for so many in this collective. And even if you're going through the darkness soul, or the death process, or going through the metamorphosis phase before the rebirth, then just know, new prosperous era, that new life, that new timeline in the transmission that I just dropped earlier today, is where you're headed. It is the light at the end of the tunnel. It is God's promise to you for doing the work and showing up for yourself and showing up for God and showing up for the divine and showing up for your mission and showing up for your purpose. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is this highest timeline that you're moving into as you align with your purpose and your calling. And it's going to require a death of the old. So all the old programming, all the old conditioning, all the old, patterns, all the ways that you have saw yourself as unworthy or not good enough, or where you have not been seeing yourself through true spiritual visions, through the eyes of source, as a divinely worthy being, a child of God, where you have not been seeing the divinity within your own self. That's all dying. That's all going. This is the death of the old self. And this naturally will allow you to have true spiritual vision, where you will only be able to see the divinity in others, even if there's something that is happening that is unfavorable. And I would say, especially when something that they have done or said in your past or future, present, like whatever, whenever you encounter something that's unfavorable, you're going to be able to see beyond the illusion, beyond the falsehood, beyond what the eyes can see, because you are now looking with true spiritual vision this is the eyes of your soul, the eyes of higher self, the eyes of source, the eyes of your heart. And you're able to see that even when someone is reflecting back to you something that is unfavorable, or whatever, and this does not condone any behavior, and you operate healthy discernment. So if you're in an environment that's not healthy, remove yourself, give yourself that self-respect, honor thyself. You are a divinely worthy being, and you deserve to be healthy and wealthy and abundant and prosperous and safe. So you honor yourself, but you're also able to see beyond someone else's pain, someone else's woundedness, someone else's hurt, someone else's knee-jerk reaction. They are not able to see themselves clearly as a divine. And so therefore, you offer nothing but blessings. You offer nothing but compassion. And you still move away if it's not, this is unconditional love, not unconditional tolerance. You do not need to tolerate anything that is not rooted in love. It is not your job to subject yourself to anything that's not healthy. So I just wanted to be clear there. But you are able to see, you are able to release, you are able to let go, you are able to forgive, you are able to release resentment, you are able to be whole and complete within yourself, and you are able to see the wholeness and completeness in them, even when they cannot see it for themselves. And you know that God dwells within their heart as well, just as God dwells within yours. And God, in his own perfect timing, I'm just saying words, but those are just labels. I don't believe God is male. If anything, God essence is creative in nature, so it's more feminine principle. But anyways, the God essence will resurrect all hearts and souls in perfect divine anointed time. And if you're listening to this and you're resonating with this, you are on this ascension timeline, obviously. And this is the work. This is the embodiment. This is what is being asked of all of us moving forward, as we are the bridges between heaven and earth. And we are laying this new earth brick by brick, building it from love, and building it from compassion, and building it from empathy, and building it from forgiveness and acceptance. And we are building this new earth brick by brick. This is who I'm speaking to. You are here to anchor in divine love in this 3D reality, to assist in humanity's mass ascension of this, in this global awakening. So was there anything else I wanted to share from me? I believe that's complete. It was something that was a beautiful message I wanted to come through, and I was getting full body chills for the majority of the time that I was sharing it. I'm looking in the notes really quick, or the comments, I mean. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for tuning in. Lemurian Soul Song, Spiritual Goddess 69, Cosmic Surf Pro, Spiritual. Thank you so much for tuning in and being here live with me, especially on Sunday night. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and also comment, say hello. Oh, and I always like to drop a word, as you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I like to drop a word, and this word is always with intention. This is really cementing your intention. And if I didn't stress this enough, your intention and your devotion is enough to really shift your timeline into is very powerful. So I love working with intention. The word that we're going to drop that anchors in your devotion and your attention to your journey, to your path, to your ascension, to your mission, to your calling, and also just, as a form of energetic exchange here, I think it's going to be eagle. Eagle's the word. There's so much symbolism with the word eagle, and that's what was coming through all day today. So drop the word eagle if you're still here with me. And if you're on the replay, I would love to hear from you as well. And I will see you again tomorrow. So I hope this finds you well. Namaste.